Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Binging with Brendan, where this week we're going to be tackling the sugar and crisp sandwiches from the Breakfast Club. Now obviously this starts pretty simply with 2 slices of bread, although Alison in the film appears to have 2 different types of bread, both brown and white. Possibly could have taken more time to find 2 loaves that were more similar in size, but whatever. Unlike Alison, I don't have any sticks of sugar, which I'm guessing may have been, taken from a restaurant or something, so we'll just have to do with a giant bag. So onto our sandwich goes a heavy dose of granulated sugar, and then next up it's time to think about crisps. In the film they actually look kind of chunky and round, and now that I think about it, they may actually be a kind of breakfast cereal. But I've already committed to crisps, so let's just go with that. The closest I could find in the store were these Walker's Poppables, which sounded like they might get a nice crunch out of them. Dump those all over the bread, give them a good smush with our hands, and then a grand smush together. Then the question is, what does this taste like? And the answer is actually not too bad, although that's because it's mostly just sugar. So the question is, what can we do to improve this recipe? Now, if I were the real Babish, I would probably start by making my own bread. However, I do not have the time or patience for that right now. But even though I've never actually done it before, I can probably make my own crisps. So let's grab the slicing side of my grater, a freshly washed potato, and slice it into thin chunks. Put a tablespoon of vegetable oil in a bowl, add our potato slices to that bowl, and then toss them around in the oil. We're going to try a few different methods of making crisps. The first one is just going to involve the microwave. So we'll lay a bunch of our slices out on a plate, liberally salt, and then put in the microwave for 6 to 7 minutes. After which you will realise that that may have been a bit too long on too much power because these look a little burnt. Also at this point you will remember that the instructions said to oil the plate before you put them in, because these are rather stuck. So let's try another batch. We'll oil the plate, lay a layer of potato slices, liberally salt, and then into the microwave, this time on 80% power for 6 minutes. These ones in comparison were easier to remove from the plate, but a bit under-browned, I think. So for our final batch, we'll stay with 80% power, but 7 minutes instead of 6. But again, these ones have come out a bit too brown, so it seems like something like 6.5 minutes at 80% power in a 900 watt microwave is probably about the sweet spot. But the question is, what are these going to be like in a sandwich? This time we'll just use matching slices of bread. The original sandwich somewhat lacked in structural integrity, so I think this could do with a light spread of margarine to give the contents of the sandwich something to stick to. The sugar in the original sandwich was far too intense, so this time let's try something different. Bearing in mind that I'm making this up as I go along and I have no idea if this is going to turn out any good, but let's just go with a much lighter dusting this time of Demerara sugar. Then we'll top that with our best selection of microwaved potato. Finally, we'll chop it in half because everyone knows we like a good cross section on this show, despite the fact that this one's going to be quite underwhelming. How does it taste? Not actually terrible, but I probably could have done with a bit more seasoning on the crisps. So how else could we possibly make crisps? Let's try some different varieties this time in the oven. This time I'm going to also put my knife skills to the test and see how thinly I can slice things with a knife. We're going to take half of these, put them in a bowl and cover them in cider vinegar, along with a teaspoon or so of salt, and we'll leave those to soak for 20 minutes and let those flavours get to know each other. In the meantime, we're going to toss the remainder in vegetable oil again and then lay out on a baking tray. Liberally season those with salt and then put into a 180-degree oven for about 20 minutes. Getting them out of the oven, it seems we have a varying degree of brownness, which I'm going to put down to my uneven slicing. For maximum cohesion before these start to cool, we are going to liberally cover these ones in smoked paprika. Then transfer to a wire rack to cool down. at which point our vinegar soaking is complete. So we'll pat these dry, place on a baking sheet, drizzle with some vegetable oil, liberally cover with a lot more salt, and again into the oven at 180 degrees for about 20 minutes. After which, again, we have a varying degree of brownness, but I'm not bothered that much about how they look personally, it's about how they taste. So now it's time for our final sandwich assembly. But what shall we use for bread this time? How about this fancy vegan brioche from Sheffield's own Make No Bones? I have no idea whether that's a good idea. I basically just wanted an excuse to get round to trying these. So we'll take a couple of those and slice them in half. And then it's time to think about the sweet side of this sandwich equation. And I think that this time we'll go for something a little bit more sensible rather than just raw sugar. Let's try a nice strawberry jam. Then we'll top one of these with our paprika crisps. And the other one with the salt and vinegar. Slice in half for a traditional cross section. And then it becomes time to taste. Verdict again, not terrible. Neither the paprika or the vinegar really had enough power to overpower the jam. Will these become members of the Clean Plate Club? Well, yes, absolutely, because I don't really like food waste. But will I be making these again anytime soon? Probably not. Now you should probably go and watch the real Binging with Babish because he is much better at this than I am. Thanks for watching. Dave, we'll see you on Sunday.